to see if we'd be able to actually connect with Elizabeth Vosseller from Virginia, USA. She actually works with non-speaking autistic people, and we want really to listen and really to see what actually happening with their story, her life, what she actually be able to do with their clients. So I'm just waiting now a few more minutes to see if Elizabeth says hello to me to be able to bring into my camera. Fingers crossed. Be hopeful and always be patient. Oh my
It's somebody
goodness.
else's phone. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, never mind. The beauty of it is you are here with someone very special next to you, your friend. So Elizabeth, so nice to see you. So
Thank
tell
you
us.
for being so patient.
Oh my God, we have to be patient with these things because to be honest, I don't understand anything about this technology thing. And I know that sometimes all these messages come up and people are not able to connect. But I'm pleased that you stay there. I was here waiting for you, so it's good. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm great. We practiced our persistence really early on this Sunday morning.
Definitely, because it's Sunday morning in USA and here in UK it's just afternoon. So thank you so much for being there. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and also introduce your guest to us, please? That would be
Yeah,
great.
I can. So thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and to see you. And I'm joined here by one of my very, very long time dearest friends in the whole world. So I'm Elizabeth Vosseller. I am an educator and a speech therapist, and I work with non-speaking people and helping them access communication by spelling. And Ian has been in my life since he was 2 years old. He's now 23 years old, and
Wow.
he started working together, doing very traditional speech therapy when he was 2. And when I started spelling with non-speaking folks on the letterboard when he was about 14, he had moved away to Seattle. I was still living in Virginia. And I called up his family and I said, hey, I'm doing something that I think might work for Ian and help him communicate. Before I could even explain it, his mother said, I'm booking a ticket right now. And they flew back to Virginia, and Ian started spelling with me, and he took to it so quickly. And then he went on a campaign with his family as he became very fluent and able to communicate and express his needs and wants, and said, we need to move back to Virginia. So now he actually lives, we could walk over to his house. We're walking distance to each other, and we frequently do. And
Wow.
he's back in my life full time. So Ian, would you like to say hello?
Yeah. Say hello
G
to us.
O O D, good. M O R N I N G. Good morning.
Good morning. Amazing. Good morning. I'm so pleased to have you and so pleased to have you as well, Elizabeth. And to start with, I want to understand a little bit about your story as well. So if you could just tell us a bit about your childhood and how was it, your background as well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I grew up, I'm actually adopted. I like to say that I was my parents' only planned pregnancy, that I had managed to, my parents were having difficulty having children, and they adopted me, and I was a little bit less than a month old when they brought me home. And about a month and a half later, my mother became pregnant with my brother, Bill. So my brother and
Wow.
I were 8 days apart, and then my next brother came along 6 years later as a bit of a surprise too. So I grew up in an amazing, loving and supporting family, which is fantastic. And I have always been a word person and fascinated by words. I really wasn't sure what I was going to do in college, and declared as a literature major. And then, like sometimes happens, I, kind of fell in love young and got married probably way too early. And then ended up later divorced with a kid. But at the end of college, I left college and got married. I had taken a sign language class as an elective, and most of the people in the class were speech and hearing majors, and I was so fascinated by what they were talking about. So
Mm.
after I found myself divorced and a single mom and needing to finish college because I didn't really have any marketable skills, I decided to put my love of words to work and pursue a degree in speech and language, and became a speech pathologist. And so that led me to working with amazing guys like Ian. And we met when he was only 2 years old, and our meeting was actually even pretty special, um, because it was the day after 9/11 had happened.
Mm.
And that was I mean, it was a traumatic day for obviously the entire world. But my son at the time was going to school. He was a little Catholic school that was about 2 miles away from the Pentagon. And I
Hmm.
dropped him at school when I hear on the radio that the Twin Towers had been hit and then the Pentagon. And the news reports were crazy. And so I raced back to go get him. And it had just been this crazy tumultuous day. I mean, that's an understatement, right?
Mm. Mm.
Really, the world in so many ways. And I was scheduled to see Ian the next day, and I called up
Mm.
that next morning and said, I don't know, do you still want to do this today? And she said, well, I'm really reeling here, but I need to, at the end of the day, my kid still needs a way to communicate, and I need to just do something that feels like doing life and normal.
Hmm.
So we did. And so I think we came together in this very emotional circumstances, and that
Wow, can you
being
imagine?
like, kind of family.
Mm, definitely, definitely. So I can see that you told us already that you give everything to your work. How do you actually separate your work life from your home life?
Well,
Oh my God, I'm sure you have something
my
to tell us too on that.
across from me and kind of rolled her eyes at that because she would say there's not a lot of separation between my work life and my home life. And she sometimes says she only sees me above here because I've got a computer in front of me, even at home. I'm I'm a little obsessed with what I do, but I have to say it's really not like work. I mean, I get to hang out with the coolest people, and I get the honor and the privilege of being there when somebody who has been unable to communicate but has been listening and observing and watching the world and contemplating it starts to be able to share those thoughts and feelings. And
Mm,
I mean, it is my work, but it's my passion, and more than that, it's my honor to
yeah.
be. That's really pretty amazing. So you would say that my work bleeds into pretty much everything. I kind of eat, sleep, and drink this, and like Ian, many the people that I meet become friends, and we become a part of each other's lives, which I think happens when your story intersects with somebody else's story, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
parts of the chapters.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Ian has a perspective on that. Should we see?
Yeah, yes, please make sure that you tell us what you think, Ian, on that.
Ian, what do you think? I am definitely P-A-R-T-O-F. I'm definitely part of Y-O-U-R, your S-T-O-R-Y. I'm definitely part of your story. I-A-M-I-M-F-R-I-E-N-D-S, friends. W-I-T-H, with Y-O-U-U-A-N-D-and-C-H-R-I-S-T. T, good. I, E. Friends with you and Christy, and that's my wife.
Wow, wow, Ian, amazing. It's amazing. So when we started actually learning in spell to communicate, how that actually changed your life? Can you tell us?
Yeah, and how did things change when you started spelling? W H E N when I S T A R T E D when I started, S P E L L I N G when I started spelling, I T O O U O U P. I lost you. Sorry, my fault. P E N E D. It opened. M Y my W O R L D. When I started spelling, it opened my world. Mm-hmm. I W A S was A G B. I lost it. Okay. I was A B L E able T O L E T let M Y my T H O U G H T S O U T. I was able to let my thoughts out. So,
Oh, of
yeah.
course, of course. Elizabeth, when someone like Ian learns how to spell and is finally able to communicate his thoughts, it must be a very emotional experience for him, for his family, and for you as well. Really emotional, right? Can you tell us more about those moments, feeling? How?
Uh, they really vary from person to person, and it's not an immediate process. It's slow because this is really developing accuracy, right? And you have to develop the motor accuracy to be able to hit the letter that you want and sustain that motor action. So it comes about gradually, but there's different moments. For some people, it can be really dysregulating, right? Because they're so emotional that affects your body control. And any emotion can be dysregulating, whether that emotion is considered to be a negative emotion, like, we can all identify with maybe feeling very upset or angry or incredibly sad that makes us not have great motor control. But also think about the times you're so happy. Maybe you're getting ready to go on vacation, you can't sleep, or when people win the lottery and they just like completely go nutso, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that emotional dysregulation. So I had one time this guy who was very emotionally dysregulated as he's starting the spelling, and as his parents are kind of like, wow, we didn't know that you knew all this. And at one point I said to him, oh, okay, yes, this is very exciting, but try to, maybe, get control of your body. And then I realized, well, what a jerk I sounded like, oh, maybe this is exciting that you can communicate. I said, you know what, this is huge that you can
Yes,
communicate. Go
yes.
nuts, do what you
My
want to
good.
do, right? Like, I just
Yeah.
realized, why would I, of course that's huge in my mental. There's some people who will start crying. There's some people, and there's some people who it's hard for them to show their emotions with their body. So it's very,
Mm,
but it's a very special,
of course. It must
special,
be. I'm already, can you imagine to see
right?
that, to be able to see someone that actually does not speak and actually be able to communicate and actually, raise his voice in a different way and, open to the world is amazing. Can you give us some other examples of any clients that you're working with, of
Mm.
other work they've been doing?
Right. Well, so we have a network of practitioners who around the world who are seeing people. So amazing things are happening all through the United States, in Canada, and South Africa, and we've just had some folks who are training in Europe and the UK. So people all around the world are beginning more and more to be able to access communication, which is our mission. And the beautiful thing is, we like to say communication gives access, agency, and autonomy. So access is, once you are able to communicate, what do you want? What do you want access to? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to just be able to hang out with family at the kitchen table and have, participate in the dinner party conversation? There was a time, actually, I had gone to Seattle before Ian moved out here, and we did an outreach, where we were working with folks, and teaching them how to spell, to communicate. And relatives were in town. Some of Ian's relatives were in town, and we went to dinner. Stayed home because he had generally stayed home when everybody went out, because restaurants can be loud and noisy, and he doesn't always eat that food and so forth. The next day, Ian, you were a little grumpy, and your mother said, why are you so mad? And he said, why didn't you invite me to go to dinner last night? And she said, well, gosh, I didn't think about it. You don't normally eat that food. I can't even remember what we were eating, honestly. But and he said, I wanted the right to say, do I want to come or not? That's access. And as a result, no one has ever made that mistake again, right, Ian? And we all want right of refusal, even if it's something I don't do. I want to be able to decide I don't want to do it. And so
of course.
Access, there's autonomy, being able to, to be in charge of your life, autonomy and agency to make decisions for yourself, and that can be down to, what do you want to eat? What clothes do you want to wear? Who do you want to hang out with? What do you want to do? So we see that, and then we're seeing people who are writing books, doing advocacy, going to college. The possibilities are really endless. And the other thing is just forming friendships. And that's pretty huge.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I've got a question actually for you, Ian, because I know, you young man, and you seem to have lots of ambition. You have attended university, as I know, and helped run a small business. Can you tell us now about what you are working on, and what you actually want to achieve in the future? Is there anything that you can tell us on that?
Sure. Ian, what do you heard Monica, what do you think? MONICA, Monica. ILOVE, love. BEING, big. INCHARGE, being in charge. OF, of. MY, of my. LI, get it? Which one? FE. Monica, I love being in charge of my life.
Wow, exactly.
IWANT, want. TO2, do. SO, so. MANY, THINGS. I want to do so many things. THEMOST, the most. IMPORTG, okay. TANT, the most important. IS, is. TO2, ADVOCATE, to advocate. FOR, for OT, S02E8. The most important is to advocate for others.
Absolutely. And you are, Ian. And I have to say, well done to you. And I'm so pleased for you to be here at MONII Platform to do that as well. That's what we want. And that's my intention as well, is to make sure that your story and your work that you're doing, Elizabeth, as well, goes around the world and people can actually find some hope. Because I received some actually comments and emails asking, you know, it was one lady that she couldn't actually join us live today because she was busy. If she could actually join and see the talk after. And I said, of course you can. And she said, you know, what I can do, what else can I do to try to teach my son spelling to communicate? Is there anything, would you say, Elizabeth, to people out there that,
Right.
you know, how they can actually do that as well, what they can help?
Well, so we started a nonprofit organization called the International Association for Spelling as Communication, which is I-ASC.org. Don't forget the dash, or I think you end up with avocado growers. And so I-ASC.org is a great place to reach out for resources. So we have a website that's filled with resources. Ian is actually part of the Non-Speaking Leadership Council that really guides our work. You know, many years ago, I kind of thought I was an expert in autism until the clients that I had been working with my whole career started communicating and teaching me that I actually am not even remotely the expert. Ian, and all the non-speakers like Ian, who are non-speaking, minimally speaking, unreliably speaking, that now have a reliable way to communicate, they're the ones that are instructing the rest of us, right? Because this is lived experience, not mine.
Absolutely.
So much for him to join me to tell this, because my story is woven with Ian's story, and because he's been in it for now 21 years, and that was, you know, part of the motivation. So we have resources on the website to get people started. We're working
fantastic
site translated into multiple languages, so that we make sure that the information and content is accessible. We try as a nonprofit to make that information as free and accessible as possible, and we're training people around the world. So people can reach out to try to get connected with a practitioner that they can either see in person or virtually to help support them how to learn. And we really, the most important thing is that we teach, you know, families how to do this, to be communication and regulation partners that we call CRPs, because live in your house, right? And so, you know, the beautiful thing is now Ian spells with his mom, with his dad, with a number of communication regulation partners. And Ian is also walking distance to our center, and he works with just about every intern who comes through our doors, because again, it's that mission to share, spread it.
Yes, absolutely. It's sharing good practice that is good about, really. So I know that you have a period as well in the documentary called The Reason I Jump. Can you tell us more about that experience, just very briefly? Yeah.
So I'll actually tell you a funny story behind it. My office manager came to me one day and said, Elizabeth, there's a British filmmaker on the phone who wants to talk to you. And I was like, oh, really? You know, and I kind of burst into a British accent. And she looked at me and she said, not on mute.
Brilliant.
After making a fool out of myself. And it was one of the producers who said, look, you know, we're wanting to make a documentary based on The Reason I Jump, and we want to get connected with non-speaking people and really be informed by them. And we know that you work with the non-speaking community. So that film featured two clients who, like Ian, who actually are very good friends of Ian's, who, like Ian, I'd been working with a long time. So both Ben and Emma, I began working with when they were 8 years old. And they have been friends since they were 3 years old. And
wow.
in there. And it was really a privilege to be associated with a film that went again to the subject matter experts,
Yeah.
went to non-speakers, that they had an autistic sound engineer, they had a speaking autistic person who did the narration.
Wow.
It was just very important to the filmmakers,
Yeah, to the crew. Yeah.
real authentic representation in there.
Absolutely amazing. Can I just ask, yes,
Yeah,
can I just ask one last question to
sure.
Ian? Ian, what is one thing that you hope our audience gets from our talk today?
Mm.
You in charge now. Tell our audience.
EALLY. I really hope. THAT. I really hope that YOURFAMILIES. I really hope your families, GA, okay, got rid of that. AND and LISTENERS. I really hope your families and listeners, THINK, think, ABOUT, about, NONSPEAKING, non-speaking, PEOPLE. I really hope your family and listeners think about non-speaking people.
Mhm.
DIFFENTLY. Think about them differently.
Yeah, oh my God, of course. And they will. And they will, and we are as well. Elizabeth, at MONII, we often talk to our guests about overcoming fears. Could you share with our viewers the fears that you have faced in your life and how you conquer them? Like, why not
You know,
anything else?
I think that, and I've been thinking about this a lot since we, chatted and you invited me here, that I'm so aware, particularly because the fact that I do work with people who are non-speaking, who are autistic, disabled, that I really come from such a place of privilege. And so, but I think part of that is it's not enough to just um, believe in something. If you don't act on those beliefs, that doesn't really make a difference. And I think, if there's anything that I've had to get out of my comfort zone of putting myself out there and advocating with and for non-speaking people, even facing criticism. And there's times that it feels defeating, and there's times that it hurts my feelings, and there's times, but I can't see this and be a part of Ian's world and the world of other non-speaking people and not act on that. So if I have any level of courage to face fears, it's to be willing to be public and talk about this, regardless of how others may take that. And but I think that's a tiny act of courage compared to the daily act of courage of facing discrimination, ableism,
Mm.
dismissal. And so, if anything, Ian, you've taught me to be brave. Thank
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely. And I think I've been even braver now just watching you, Ian, because it's about really not ever give up and be patient about really, getting the methods or techniques to actually learn to always, be inclusive, because what we want is our society all to have and raise their voice and to be inclusive, right?
Right.
So
And I'll tell you, so Ian tends to like to wear sunglasses anyway because he's light sensitive. But I really wanted to make, now we ended up just doing open speaker because of all the technology problems getting on, even though you and I practiced it beautifully. But I brought with me like a pair of bone conduction um, headset, a regular headset, the AirPods. And these actually are brand new that I actually got as a gift for my wife because she likes to listen to music at the pool and the beach, that they have Bluetooth speakers that are right there and they're bone conduction, because you and I talked about how to make this accessible for Ian. And I think if I could ask anything of your audience is, what's that tiny accommodation that you can do to make whatever you're doing inclusive, And so I came with a bag of things. We tried it all out to see what worked best. And, Ian was like, wow, sunglasses, which I love, and
yeah.
here. So I appreciate, Monica, your desire to make sure that Ian was going to be able to fully participate and have access in this interview. And that is just one tiny action that every single person in your audience can do. What can you do to be including somebody? And whether that's somebody who's disabled or
Absolutely.
because of, is an immigrant and speaks another language, is, because of their
Just make me cry.
sexuality, anything. It's often
Yes.
the act that will make somebody be included. And I appreciate that about what you are trying to do. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. And I hope you guys in the audience really help us to share these stories and help more people, because so many people up there really need more help, and they don't know. Sometimes they don't know because they just don't know how. And this
Right.
is why MONII is being created, Elizabeth, is to make sure it's an open platform for people to actually get inspired, because we are sharing the hopes and fears of everyday people. And that is what, and is everyone inclusive, right?
Right.
Before
Exactly.
we go, do you believe in second chances?
I do. I do. I mean, I think I've on my at least 30-second chance in life. I do. How, do
Definitely.
you believe in second chances?
What about you, Ian?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So please make sure, if you have any questions for Ian or for Elizabeth, please do write in our comments. I'm sure Elizabeth will be very happy to
Oh,
get back to you after this talk. Right, Elizabeth?
yes, absolutely. And thank you for, speaking of second chances, giving at least 4 chances to for us to access, get on live and not give up. And again, I just think that's the repeated lesson I've learned is, just don't give up. There's always something, that will make it work. So we were scrambling. I was like, give me another phone. Let's try this. Let's try that. And I appreciate your patience and the patience of your audience.
Thank you so much. Of course, we are here for that, Elizabeth. Thank you so much, everyone. So please make sure you just support us in this story. Make sure if you have any questions for Ian and say how brilliant he was, make sure you write in there. Ian will read that and we'll get back to you as well. Thank you so much, everyone. So I enjoy and I'm grateful to you guys. Thank you for this moment, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And thank you. And I see you in 2 weeks' time with another story, another guest, and from West Africa. So stay tuned and be curious and have a good Sunday. Take care, guys. Thank you
Thank
so much, Elizabeth. Appreciate it. And Ian, you were amazing. Fantastic. Keep up the good work.
He says, thank you. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. See you guys. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.